is Mystery Meat's Fine Dining podcast, helping foodies discover new restaurants and new friends. Here's your host, the founder of Mystery Meat, Seth Ressler.
Hello, and welcome to Mystery Meat's Fine Dining podcast, the podcast where we talk to local food bloggers and other local food experts and get their restaurant recommendations. I'm your host. My name is Seth Ressler, and before we start, I do want to make a quick mention of what Mystery Meat is, because people ask me all the time, what exactly is Mystery Meat? It's a social dining group that we started in the city of Boston, and we're now starting to take to other cities. It's basically a bunch of foodies who get together to have a great meal at a restaurant. But there's a catch, and the catch is they don't find out where they're going until 24 hours in advance. You buy your ticket and you have no idea where you're going, and then you find out and you go and you get together with a bunch of other foodies and you sit around and have a great meal and talk about food for 2 hours. So it's definitely something for adventurous foodies. If you want to have a Mystery Meat dinner in your town, what you got to do is go to mysterymeat.org and click the big orange button that says get an invitation and sign up. And then when we have one in your town, we'll make sure that we invite you personally. Today on the Fine Dining podcast, we are talking to Elaine Wu of Virgo Blue Productions. Elaine, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Seth.
I'm excited to have you. This is the first time we've been to San Francisco, and San Francisco is known for its cuisine, and it's known for its culinary talent. So I'm really excited to have you join us today. And you, I think, are the perfect expert to talk about San Francisco.
That's a lot of pressure.
I don't mean to pressure you, but you've got a very impressive career and resume, and I'm really excited about a lot of the things you've done. Let's talk about, what is Virgo Blue Productions and how did you get there?
Actually, my career originally started in television and radio, and I spent about 10, 11 years in that industry, working as a producer and a writer and at times a correspondent as well, same thing in radio. And then I left the industry and I went into PR, which is where I am now. I've landed now since at a company called Blog Her, which is pretty much the largest social media company for women who blog. We reach about 43 million unique visitors a month. And so we just finished off our huge 5,000-person conference in New York City, which was great. And I am also a food blogger now. Food has always been a passion of mine. And since I entered PR, I kind of needed a creative outlet. And so that's how I started to blog. I was also very into social media through my various jobs. And so, blogging came very naturally for me. And now I've been fortunate to have some gigs as a freelance food writer for places like KQED's Bay Area Bites and some other local sites as well. And, of course, it helps to fund my eating habits.
Well, let's talk about the Bay Area and San Francisco. If I'm a foodie coming to the Bay Area, what do I need to know? And let's start with sort of the different dining districts and neighborhoods. Where are the places to look for great restaurants? Sure.
My first suggestion to anybody who's coming to San Francisco who loves food is to go to the Ferry Building. It is the first place that you should go simply because it's a wonderful, complete experience, and it highlights a lot of the best of San Francisco. You've got wonderful purveyors who are experts at the whole farm-to-table movement. There's a lot of locally produced stuff, organic, fresh, top-of-the-line food that's being produced, and the menus and the preparations are incredibly innovative. And the vendors there are ones that you really won't find anywhere else, and I just think it's a wonderful representation of how this is a real food lover's town. My favorite places in there are 4505 Meat. They have a bacon-stuffed hot dog that is the best thing that you will ever taste. And then there's Frog Hollow Farms has a storefront there, and they have some wonderful jams, and, they do some wonderful stone fruits. They're known for their stone fruit. And my favorite thing, though, is their olive oil. It's like a big secret, and I love it to death. And Delika RF, which is a Japanese deli-style place, and they have some really great options for people who are like vegetarian, vegan, wonderful, flavorful preparations that are unlike anything else you'll find. Of course, there's Gott's Roadside, where you can get a really good classic cheeseburger.
So the Ferry Buildings, where to start?
That's where to start. And then if you really want a taste of old school San Francisco, there's North Beach, of course. lots of great Italian places. It's a wonderful place to kind of grab a cup of coffee and just people watch. That's a wonderful neighborhood, and they've got some great old Italian-style stuff there. And then the big up-and-coming place is the Mission District. There's a whole bunch of wonderful new restaurants that seem to pop up there all the time. There are some great classics there, like Range and Foreign Cinema, which is a wonderful place to have brunch. And then a little farther past, I don't know if it's really considered Mission, but I do. There's Tartine Bakery. There's Buy Right Creamery, which has like the best ice cream in the world. And then there's also the Buy Right Market and Pizzeria Delfina.
One of the things I notice whenever I walk around San Francisco is just, compared to other cities, the ethnic diversity is amazing. I mean, you can literally walk down the street and hear 5-6 different languages in the course of a day. What does that mean for the cuisine?
I think that you're going to get a real wonderful snapshot of what American cuisine really is, which is really it's kind of a blend of every culture you could possibly think of. There's such a rich Chinese community, which of course I'm partial to. And then there's wonderful Japanese options, which of course we have a very strong Japantown as well. And then if you're in the Mission, the Latino purveyors and markets and there's some great Salvadorian food and just some wonderful Mexican options as well. I mean, there's just some really distinct neighborhoods with a lot of authentic ethnic experiences there. And I think that's really unique to the city.
Now, if I'm coming in, is there a particular time of year that is better than the others? Maybe some food events that I should check out?
Sure. The San Francisco Street Food Festival happens in August, and I believe that they just finished off their 3rd annual. And it's a wonderful kind of place to check out where the food trends are in this town. And then there's also the Eat Real Festival, which is similar to that. There's a lot of street food and food truck purveyors. There's also a lot of local purveyors there as well. So best of the local movement, farm to table again, fresh, wonderful quality food that's there. It's a really exciting place to be. And then if you're going to be here, the best time of year really weather-wise is September and October. And the weather is just wonderful. It's sunny. We have a really strong Indian summer because the summertime here is full of fog and it's kind of chilly. But if you come here in September and October, it's a wonderful time of year. And every Saturday at the Ferry Building, they have the legendary San Francisco Ferry Building Farmers Market. And it's just hordes and hordes of people, both locals and out-of-towners. And it's a great slice of just kind of American food culture in San Francisco.
You mentioned some of the trends. I mean, what are you seeing coming up in the city of San Francisco? What are sort of the new things that people are doing?
It's funny how farm to table was, in my opinion, and a lot of people will disagree with me, I think that movement was really born here because we're just really spoiled with all the wonderful fresh produce and fresh cheeses and fresh seafood and just all these wonderful foods that are being grown and cultivated here and really loved and appreciated by foodies in the San Francisco Bay Area.
That sounded kind of like a challenge. That sounded like you were throwing the gauntlet down a little bit there.
And, it's a debate for sure, but it's not, there are a lot of people who will debate with me whether New York or San Francisco. That's always the ongoing debate, which is better foodie town. And in all honesty, I adore New York. It is actually my favorite city in the world, with the exception of San Francisco, of course. And there are things that you can get in New York that you can't get here. I'm still looking for an authentic New York pizza experience here. It doesn't happen. There will never be anything like Katz's Deli here, even though I do love Wise Son's Delicatessen in San Francisco. It is awesome, but it's just not the same. And, there are just things that you can get in New York that you can't get here, and vice versa. I think that a lot of the trends are born here. And I say that the farm-to-table movement, I believe, was really kind of born here. And then, New York did food trucks and has done food trucks for years and years and years, and they do it exceptionally well. But I think that there's a lot of innovation in food trucks and street food here in San Francisco going on right now.
And when you say innovation, you mean in terms of the cuisines that are being served there?
Yeah, it's not your typical, and there's nothing wrong with the typical, because I would love to get a really good falafel from a New York food truck right now. But there's food trucks like Chairman Bao or Curry Up Now. Curry Up Now is doing Indian food, and they are taking some really great modern spins on traditional Indian street food. And then same thing with Chairman Bao. You know, they take Asian or Chinese flavors and kind of put a real different spin on it. And that's what I mean, innovative creations, really innovative, modern takes on traditional food. And those are being served out of food trucks.
Let me ask, because I know this is one of your areas of expertise, why are food trucks exploding? Because that's the thing that I'm hearing from people in city after city after city. Is it social media that's made that possible in ways that it wasn't possible before, or is it something else?
I think it's really more the economy than anything else. You know, I mean, rents, it's no secret that rents are expensive, especially in this part of the country. You know, I spoke to the guys who run the Southern Comfort Food barbecue truck. And, you know, they used to run a restaurant of their own, and they had to go out and they decided to close up shop and run the truck instead. The rent was too expensive for them. They wanted more creative freedom, and they wanted to be able to bring their food to the masses, and not just in the particular area that their storefront was in. And I think that those are three very big factors to why food trucks are so successful right now, and they are the trend. And there are a lot of food-conscious, food-loving people who want to try different things and would prefer to have it come to them than them have to go out and get it. So social media helps to facilitate that so that food lovers like us are really able to find them. And it does help with marketing costs, because marketing, from that standpoint, it's a very inexpensive way to market yourself. But it's still a hard trek. But I think that's why there's a resurgence in food trucks and the food truck movement overall.
Those factors that you're talking about, the cost and the desire to have some more freedom with the menu, are you seeing those in pop-up restaurants as well? Is it the same kind of thing that's inspiring those?
Yeah, pop-ups, I think, have a similar idea as well. And from those pop-ups, they find a lot of loyal fans, and they get a really great, strong base of fans. And then they're able to open storefronts and have a little bit more success with it. And a great example of that is what I just mentioned, Wise Son's Delicatessen. It started out as a pop-up, and now they have their own storefront. And they're just wildly successful. And guess what? It's because of the quality of their food. And they were able to create a demand for it. So it could pretty much give them a built-in fan base, a cult base. And so then they felt secure and safe enough to go out and do it on their own. And they're doing some wonderful food. I'm so glad they're on the scene.
All right, let's talk about your restaurant recommendation. Where are you taking us?
I have to say Wayfare Tavern. It is owned and operated by the great Tyler Florence, who, of course, we all know from the Food Network. But it's funny because when I hear that a celebrity chef has opened a restaurant, I'm almost too critical. But first time I went there, it blew me away. And every time I've been since, still continues to blow me away. So kudos to you, Tyler Florence, because it's one of my favorite restaurants.
Tell me, when I walk into the place, what's the vibe like? What's the atmosphere?
Well, you know, the vibe when you walk in is very old school San Francisco. It's very kind of like a lot of black and dark woods, and it feels like old time San Francisco. And I have to admit, it's a very kind of masculine feel when you walk in, which can be slightly intimidating at first as a woman. But when the staff comes up to greet you, the service is what makes it warm and inviting. And that alone is a wonderful thing, because we've all been to restaurants, high-end restaurants, or even medium-tier restaurants. And especially in the city, they feel like they're doing you a favor by coming to serve you this food. And it really should be the other way around. I still believe that service does make up for a lot of faults in places. And then the food is very kind of comfort food, strong American comfort food. So he's really succeeded in creating a lot of kind of contrast there and doing it very well. It's a very welcoming, hearty menu. There's fried chicken on there, there's deviled eggs, there's a tartare on there, there's burgers, and then there's wonderful salads and some oysters and great seafood. So it's very strongly rooted in American with a little bit of the French touches. And they also have a wonderful open kitchen there, so you can see everything. That also creates another area of warmth. It's a great menu. I love that kind of hearty food.
So I sit down, and I'm looking at the menu, and I want to order an appetizer. You got one that you recommend?
If you're the salad-loving kind of person, this is a great place to get an appetizer salad because they always have a seasonal salad on there. I've had a wonderful avocado and hearts of palm salad with olive oil. It was insanely good. You know, you're thinking, oh, an avocado half and, you know, some olive oil, but it blew me away. And then they also have had seasonal salads like Frog Hollow peaches and greens, and it just they really highlight the best of local produce. And then the other thing, if you want, you can go for a side, and the mac and cheese is wonderful.
As a side, wow.
Yeah, go for that. I mean, if you're going to go to a restaurant like this where there's a very heavy, hearty meal in store for you, go big or go home.
I like your attitude.
Yeah.
So tell me about the mac and cheese. I'm in. Sold.
Yeah, the mac and cheese, what I love about it is, frankly, the breadcrumbs on there. There's garlic breadcrumbs on there, and I love a creamy mac and cheese. It's so creamy, and the garlic punch of the breadcrumbs, and it's just wonderful. Love it.
Nice. All right, go big or go home. What does that mean for my main dish?
You got to get the fried chicken. It's buttermilk brined. It is fried to wonderful perfection. That skin is perfectly thin and crisp. It never overpowers the meat. And because it is brined with buttermilk, it has wonderful, wonderful moistness and flavor. And it is served with roasted garlic cloves, and some lemon, and some herbs on top, some fried sage, which that blew me away as well. I mean, just all those elements together, perfect dish. Best fried chicken for me in San Francisco.
Hypothetically, if I have room for dessert after all of this.
I know, right?
Where do I go?
They have seasonal things. They change all the time. There's also a seasonal fruit dessert on there from what I remember. So the seasonal fruit dessert is always a good bet. But the last time I went, I had the carrot cake. And it was sitting in this pool of yummy kind of cider-ish sauce. And I thought, oh, okay, I didn't really think very much of it. And I took one little taste of the sauce that was sitting on the bottom of the plate. And it was like drinking apple cider. It was like this wonderful cinnamony, spicy apple kind of, it was like fall, you know? It was wonderful.
Mm.
It was a wonderful accompaniment to the moist and delicious carrot cake. So it's a good dessert, I have to say.
All right, that's Wayfare Tavern. It's at 558 Sacramento Street. You can also check it out online, Wayfare, F-A-R-E, tavern.com. Let's play a game, shall we? You ready?
Sure, go ahead.
All right, this game is called Out of the Frying Pan. Here's how we do it. I'm going to ask you for recommendations, and you just tell me the first thing that pops into your head. No wrong answers.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
A lot of hills, a lot of water in San Francisco, so what is the restaurant with the best view?
Oh, the best view. Goodness gracious. There's the Cliff House in San Francisco, which is, of course, right by Ocean Beach. And they did a remodel, I believe, just a couple of years ago. But it's always been a beautiful space. So that's a great place to head just for the view alone. It's gorgeous.
Nice. All right. You've got AT&T Park right there on the water. What's the best place to go to eat before a San Francisco Giants game?
Oh, don't even bother. Go to the stadium.
Really?
Oh, God. You're wasting an opportunity if you don't do that. No. Go and eat at the stadium. That is the best park in the country for food. It is awesome. And get garlic fries and there's some fancy stuff that you wouldn't think of that's in there. Just eat at the stadium. It's not like regular ballpark food.
You mentioned the fact that the city's got great Chinese food.
Yeah.
Is there any place in particular that we should go?
I hate to jump on the bandwagon, but Mission Chinese food, I mean, there's a reason why they opened one in New York as well. Again, I'm going to throw the innovative word around because it's not something that you would expect. So I think that's a cool place to kind of reimagine your ideas of Chinese food.
What about local chefs? Is there anybody in particular that you are a fan of or that you follow?
Oh, God, Thomas Keller. And he's not San Francisco, but he is very Bay Area. I will follow him anywhere. I think he's just the best chef, period.
All right, you're on the water. What about seafood? Where do we go for that?
I know it's terribly touristy, But you got to go to Fisherman's Wharf and get yourself a cracked crab. If it's that time of year, it's a great deal. It's totally fresh. It's classic San Francisco, and I hate to be touristy about it, but it's a good bet.
All right, and finally, put your money where your mouth is. Where do you actually go most often? What restaurant?
For modern Italian cuisine, I love Perbacco, which is in the financial district. Love it. Service is impeccable. Dishes are wonderful. And then there's also, I love Sociale, and it's an Italian restaurant as well, but it's kind of my favorite, best-kept San Francisco secret. Nobody talks about it all that much, but again, impeccable service, wonderful cuisine, and my favorite thing is just the environment. It's the most romantic little spot. It's great for first dates or anniversaries. It's down this cobblestone street that you walk down, and if you go, make a reservation to sit outside because it's just so utterly romantic. It's lovely.
Elaine Wu, if people want to read more of your writings on food or they want to follow you on social media, how can they do that?
You can go to my blog. It's virgoblue.net, virgoblue.net. I'm on Twitter, also at virgoblue. I write from time to time on various websites, but the best way to keep up with me is facebook.com/virgoblueblog.
And we have a lot of bloggers who listen to this podcast, so let's make the pitch for Blog Her. Why should people come out to the big conference next year?
Oh, God, it's the place to be. If you're a woman and you're a blogger, doesn't matter what you're blogging about, it is the best investment you will ever make in your blogging career, period.
All right, Elaine, thanks so much for talking to us. This was great. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you, Seth.
All right, this has been the Fine Dining Podcast. A couple of notes. If you want us to bring a Mystery Meat dinner to your town, all you got to do is go to mysterymeat.org, MEET.org, and click the big orange button and sign up for an invitation. If you like this podcast, do us a favor, head over to iTunes and just rate it right there on iTunes. And if you are a blogger, you want to make a restaurant recommendation, you can go to mysterymeat.org and click the Contact Us link and let us know, and we'll invite you on to talk about your favorite restaurant. Thank you so much to Elaine for talking to us, and we'll talk to you next time.
This has been Mystery Meat's Fine Dining Podcast. You can find links to the websites mentioned in this episode at mysterymeat.org/podcast. Thank you for listening.